Okay, so I suppose we should get on to the 3.0, and I'm interested to see what your thoughts on it are because, as we've seen in the past, watching the gameplay, there are now side steps. It looks like there's side steps of the game, which I don't think were
Yep.
in any other version of Flexel. Fexel. Sorry.
Pixel.
Pexel, yeah.
Pixel.
I want to call it Flexel, but it's not.
Yeah.
So
You
I don't.
can't, that's illegal.
I,
Yeah.
I don't believe there are side steps in any versions of the game. So this is sort of like bringing it into in a more of a 3D aspect of things. And I've heard people say, well, they want to make a more universal version of the game,
Yeah.
or they want to maybe they want to make a Fighting EX Layer 2. May I don't know, something along those lines, some kind of an update. I'm curious to see what you think.
So I do, if anyone's curious for more in-depth thoughts on this, I did do a react video to the footage, and I break down kind of like all the stuff I've seen from like another dash and stuff that's similar, what's different, things like that. So you can check it out on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I think it looks very exciting. I do agree. It's kind of like blending the 80 mechanics with the Vexel core system, which is really exciting because I wasn't the biggest fan of taking away running and chain combos, stuff like that. So I'm glad they kept the running, the foundational stuff, but they've added air combos as well, which is really cool. So basically, like it seems like anytime you do a dash and you do a heavy normal, you will cause a juggle. So it will launch them into the air, kind of like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and you can choose to either jump up and do an air chain series to knock them down to the ground, or you can hopefully do a slight juggle, maybe land and then do something else on top of that, or even so. If you just do the launcher, maybe you can like wait a second and then do like a special or like a grounded normal into another special and then maybe cancel in a super or something like that. Because the cool thing about the juggle system in the current Fexel game, which is the same in AD and in Core Fexel, is what happens is as soon as you launch them with like a super or an attack or you anti-air them, for example, uh, once they're launched, you can hit them at any point that you want with anything, and as long as it connects, it'll always connect. And once it connects, what it does is it starts a series. So you basically have a small window of opportunity to hit the next hit, and as you keep going, you basically have to just keep hitting it, and then gravity scaling will kick in. So as long as you can make the combo, as long as you can tie the hits close enough together, then you'll keep them juggling. So if that still exists in this version, which I imagine it will, it's going to look really good and really fun. Yeah.
Doesn't sound fun to be juggled forever.
No, but the thing about it though, the meter system is really interesting because there's no meter gain in the game. So basically, once you use a bar, it's gone for the rest of the round. I think it's
Okay.
7 or 8 bars, but once you use those 7 or 8 bars, they're all gone until the end of the round. I believe after 10 seconds left though, you get all your meter back. Like both players get all their meter back. So it's like a
Okay.
last minute like just spend it all, like go crazy, right?
Sudden
Um,
death.
yeah, exactly. There was a version of Fexel actually before it launched that had sidestepping, like the Fighting Layer games. This version was basically after the April Fool's reveal. Then they started finishing off. They had a test stream, I believe it was at the Beast TV station. So they had Nemo and Fudo play this version of Fexel. I don't know where you can find it. Somewhere on YouTube, maybe. Maybe type Nemo, Fudo, Fexel. But basically, it was before the beta was announced and before the trailer came out. They were testing this out, and you could see them playing for about 2 hours or so. And Nishitani was there to like ask questions and answer stuff and all that. That was the only version of sidestepping. Uh, after Fexel had been out for a while, there was a mobile version of Fexel that came out, and that had sidestepping
Hmm.
technically. But that's like a one-off free game. I think you can still download it actually from the App Store. But yeah, try it if you guys haven't. But yeah, the sidestepping seemingly is going to work kind of like almost like Tekken, sort of, but it's going to be kind of slow. You have to already be running to sidestep, and
Hmm.
the button combination to do it seems a little complex right now. So hopefully they change it in some way. But what it looks like to be useful for is because you can sidestep projectiles, and you can seemingly sidestep dashing attacks. So if someone tries to dash at you and do like dashing crouching light kick or dashing crouch medium kick, which is a common threat in Fexel currently. So if you do that, it's like one of the best ways to get in on somebody. So you usually have to do something like a neutral jump to bait it, jump back, backdash to space out a whiff punish, or press a button that goes over lows to kind of counterpoke them. So this would be another option to avoid that kind of scenario. So you can just like sidestep, see them coming, sidestep, and then they could just make them whiff, and then you punish them on the side. It's not going to be full 3D. It's still like a 2D game, but it's going to add an interesting layer, so to speak, on the combat. I think I'm most curious about how it'll affect other characters because we only got to see Alan and Terry, and both of those characters don't have air supers, and both of those characters don't have air throws. So I'm very curious how air throws and air supers and air specials will interact with the juggle system.
Right.
Because that would be a big factor in how strong. Because if you guys don't know, so in Fexel right now, Terry is number 1 and Alan is number 2. There's basically almost no dispute between that. In AD, it's very different. Terry is like middle of the pack, and Alan is like number 1, and then probably Shadowgeist is 2, I would say. But Shadowgeist in normal Fexel is actually not that high up. He's probably like about mid tier or so. So yeah, it's very interesting to see once they add more characters, maybe how, like I mentioned, the air supers will interact with the juggle system they have. But yeah, I'm excited.
Have you ever played Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle? Okay.
Oh, Team Battle, no. What is that?
It's Virtua Fighter 3 on the Dreamcast.
Okay.
It's called Virtua Fighter 3 TB. It's Team Battle. Sorry, so when I say Team Battle, that's what it stands for. Yeah, it's actually so the whole angle of 3 is it has the tag system, but that's kind of optional. But anyway, that was like one of the first games I ever played with a sidestep because it was 1998 or 9 when the game came out. I hadn't played other 3D fighting games at the time. And the way you sidestep in that game is it goes from being a 3-button game to a 4-button game, and the 4th button is sidestep. So the way you sidestep is you press up or down and choosing the direction you want to go in. And I was curious, is the sidestep going to work the same way in the newer version, you think? Like, is it going to be a button sidestep?
I hope so, or because I think right now you have to press 3 buttons and then do the input for sidestep. I think you just press down or up with that button input. I think it's both heavies and then medium punch. I hope it's something more simple than that because that sounds really annoying. I'd rather it just honestly be maybe you hold like light punch or something, and then you can press up or down. Like that would kind of work, maybe.
It might be too slow though.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It could be like Rival
Have
Schools.
to make it a button. I think they'd have to make it a button plus up or
Yeah.
down.
What's the Rival Schools input?
Rival Schools input is 2 kick buttons, up or down. But I also know that as I was messing around with Fighting EX Layer, they do have those like command normals or command moves where you do like a short hop with like Volcano Rosso and you do like a kick or something. Like other characters have stuff like that. Maybe they'll take that out and use that for the kick. But yeah,
maybe.
in Rival Schools, actually in most all of those games I had talked about, like Rival Schools, Plasma Sword, whatever it may be, and even Power Stone to an extent, have a button dodge that actually is the same. It was something that they were universally like taking from each game, and they're like, oh yeah, we could just add the 2-button dodge to this game, and then they Plasma Sword had it, Rival Schools had it, whatever it may be. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with that newer version. Hopefully that it breathes some new life into the game, and who knows, if we're lucky, maybe we'll get some new characters. If that might be reaching. Sounds like I'm reaching, but
maybe. I don't know. It's really hard to say because they don't really share anything about it. When we've asked for content to be added to the current version of Fexel, they've said that they just don't have the money.
Right.
So they would if they could, but yeah, it's just expensive, right? Um, yeah, so I hope whatever they come up with, I hope that they take their time instead of releasing just like this version with like these new mechanics. Like I'll take it if that's what they want to do, but I think they could pull a much bigger audience because a lot of people have good receptions from this new footage. Like they like what they saw.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. It looks fun. It's all universal, which is really cool. And like I said, it's a system-based game already, so it's very easy to switch characters and go back and forth. Because once you understand like how one character works, you can kind of pick up every other character pretty quickly. That's why you see oftentimes, if like if you see me play in tournament, I'll like mix between like a roulette of characters sometimes. So